Let me ask you about the trade story, Dr. Greenspan, because, you know, a lot of people agree with you, obviously, with that the tax cut plan was very positive for growth. But there's also this worry out there that these new worries over trade and the potential trade war, these tariffs, are going to cut into that growth. Do you see it that way?
I do indeed. Remember what tariffs are. They are essentially a tax. They're like an excise tax, and they, when imposed, withdraw purchasing power from the economy. And when we are looking at the types of tariffs which the administration is suggesting, that does not bode good, does not bode well for the future. I think there's a mistaken view that somehow when we have a significant merchandise trade deficit, say for example, with China, that they are doing something which is undercutting us. But we have a trade deficit with China largely because Americans are deciding to buy Chinese goods because they are cheaper than ours. That's good. That's the way the international system ought to work, and trying to block it is a mistake.
So what about the issue over China stealing our intellectual property and forcing the transfer of technology? Do you believe that part of this is just this negotiation that this administration and this president has done in terms of moving the needle on that, on the IP theft?
No, I think that if you go back a couple of decades, we used to see situations where an American company would come in with a joint venture with the Chinese and build their factory with all their technology. Then shortly thereafter, an identical plant would be built side by side, stealing our technology. They have done a considerable amount of that in various different forms over the years, and I think that is a legitimate complaint, and I think we're making the issue well known to the Chinese, but they've been obtaining extraordinary amounts of technology because, remember, they're growing at a very rapid rate. You can't do that without access to newer technologies. The only issue here is that China is still a third per capita GDP of China is now a third of what the United States is. They are back in technologies to the 1950s or thereabouts, when indeed in the 1950s steel and aluminum are really avant-garde type of technologies. So it's not, I don't think it's wholly accidental that what we're trying to do is to prop up the American economies where it seems to be most impacted by steel and aluminum. In short, we're trying to retrograde back to 1950 and 1960. That is not where global technology should be.
So it sounds like you believe that it's legitimate to push back on China with regard to the IP theft, but it's not legitimate to try to save the industries of steel and aluminum with these tariffs.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's a pretty, well-felt feeling out there on the part of business, because it's those aluminum and steel tariffs that have created all of this retaliation. So how significant is this in terms of creating a negative growth story?
You mean, well, it depends on how far we go. Remember that tariffs, or basically any form of subsidy of that sort, is the equivalent of a tax increase on Americans. That is, remember that who is paying the increase in the price of steel and the price of aluminum? Americans who are buying it. This is not the way one should come at this. We're doing it, I would say, we're trying to replicate a technology which put the United States in first place as the major steel producer and the major aluminum producer.
Yeah.
That's a generation ago.
Yeah, you make a really important point, because you're talking about whole new industries leading this growth story in America, like robotics, like AI, all of these different things. But that's the whole issue with China, because they want those industries to lead their growth story, and they want to be number one of those industries, which is why apparently this administration is pushing back. So we'll see if this is an actual negotiation or how far this goes in terms of these tariffs.
I mean, you're asking me how far it's going to go?
I don't know. I mean, we'll have to. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But right now, Dr. Greenspan, what the economy feels like is pretty good. I mean, do you disagree with what we're looking at today? Unemployment at 3.8%, African unemployment, at all-time lows. Economic growth, and that has obviously caused the Federal Reserve to start raising interest rates. But there's a worry out there that maybe things turn down in the next couple of years, but then it's too late, that then the Fed blew it. What do you think?
I think you shouldn't ask me about Federal Reserve policy, because you won't get an answer.
I knew that, Dr. Greenspan. But can you characterize what we're seeing right now in terms of the economic stability?
You mean ours?
Yeah, in the U.S.
Well,
yeah.
Actually, if you look at where the second quarter is going to be a very strong quarter. We know that now. We have enough data. And strangely enough, one of the leading indicators of this is this extraordinary rise in crude oil production, and to a lesser extent in the whole infrastructure involved in oil. I don't recall anything, having followed the oil industry back to year one, I've never seen anything rush this fast. And the fracking has made extraordinary changes in crude oil production, and our output now, which is over 10 million barrels a day, is close to the highest. Russia is higher than we, very slightly. We're higher than Saudi Arabia.
Wow, that's interesting. That's very promising. Dr. Greenspan, it's good to see you again. Thanks so much, sir.
My pleasure.
Alan Greenspan joining us.